Hello crafty friends, I'm Lien from Studio Kato and I'm so glad you're joining me again today. Today I have another card to share with you guys for the Waffle Flower December challenge, and I'm using the bunnies again because I love them so much. And I'm starting out by stamping these images. Now I am doing masking again, but in my previous video for the Waffle Flower December challenge, I am sharing this more in detail. So if you're curious about that, I will link that video down below as well. Now, the December challenge over at Waffle Flower Crafts is all about winter birthday cards for her, or at least this week is. So I am loving these cards that I made because I'm using a stamp set that's not really meant for winter. There are some winter accessories for these bunnies, which I'm really happy for. And I'm just stamping these bunnies and their accessories in Versafine Onyx Black ink, and I am embossing them with Wow Clear Gloss Superfine Embossing Powder. I am going to color these in with my Karin Brushmarkers, and I love these markers, but their brown selection is a little bit weird. They're very greenish. So this is really the only brown I ever use for my critters, and it's the sand color. I don't know, the name is something with sand. It's just a really soft brown. So I am layering it up to get a nice deep shadow. I sped up the coloring quite a bit here because that's not really what this card is about or what this video is about. So if you want to see more videos about coloring, I can direct you to my playlist on watercolor. And there you'll find a lot of fun coloring videos, more coloring focused. Now I ran into an issue while coloring this, and it's just because I was impatient. When you're working with these markers, you can't really color the marker down onto wet cardstock. That will give you streaks, and it will also ruin your paper if you're too heavy-handed with it. But if you're working in layers, like I recommend you do, like I'm doing here, to build up your shadows, it's really useful to build up your shadows, but you should really wait for the first layer to dry completely before you add more color for your second layer. Now it's different if you're just dipping the brush nib into, or your marker into wet paint to add a little bit of color, but if you're brushing on your color with the marker, that will give you streaks, it will give you splotches, and it will rip your paper if you're a little bit too heavy-handed with it. So wait for your first layer to dry and then move on to your second one. For the accessories, I am using some peach colored marker for the girl bunny, and then I'm finally chose some blue for the scarf of the male bunny. I wanted to do green, but I couldn't find the right one. I could have probably mixed some, but I was too lazy for that. So I put some green in the bouquet instead, and I will also repeat the peach of the scarf in the peach or in the flowers. So that color is nice and interwoven throughout all these images. And I'm even repeating it in the background, though it's not an exact match. For the background, I used the Stitchable Pinking Rectangle, also by Waffle Flower, and I am just blending on some Coral Reef ink by Pinkfresh Studio just on the edges to give a hint of pink. Now, I will change my mind about this later, and I will tear this card apart to fix it, but I am showing you my process as how I did it, so in chronological order of how I did it, so you can see how I fixed my mistakes. Now for my background, so the panel behind the stitchable rectangle, I also put some pink on there, and I just did that with an ink cube. Now this was the Ballet Slipper by Pinkfresh Studio because it's lighter ink, and as I'm putting it down quite heavily, I just wanted some lighter ink that would allow me to layer it on nicely. I did add a stitched edge there. I just did a stem stitch. I highly recommend you look up some embroidery videos for that because it's really impossible for me, as how I am filming, to get that on camera. So I couldn't get that on camera for you guys. I stamped a sentiment, just a happy birthday sentiment, onto some matte gold cardstock. Really love this cardstock and I don't know where it's from. I just white heat embossed that, and I also die cut this little bow that's also from Waffle Flower, and I die cut that from the same cardstock. Now I had already attached all of this to my card with foam tape. I very gently peeled it apart because I wanted to add a little bit more element of winter in my card, so I am just using the Snowflakes background stencil, also by Waffle Flower, and I'm stenciling on some of these snowflakes in that same coral reef ink. I am going over that stitched detail, and you do see a slight variation in color there if you're really scrutinizing this card, but overall I think it worked out. Now the snowflakes are not as readable, they're not as noticeable as on a normal panel with all that stitched or that stitchable rectangle with all the holes in it. I think it's lovely, but it's a very subtle snowflake pattern. I'm re-adhering everything with the foam tape, and I am putting on that bow again with some Nuvo Deluxe adhesive that's adhered directly on top of the embroidery. And I also put a gold pearl on top of the bow. For a matching envelope, I am just folding one out of soft pink cardstock with my We Are Memory Keepers 123 punch board, and then I am stenciling on this knitted background, also by Waffle Flower. I am using the same coral reef ink, and I'm torturing myself because I can't pronounce that, but just brushing that on with my blending brush very lightly on one edge, just fading it out towards the center. And this part is entirely off screen, but I'm just stamping on the Love You sentiment from the Love You Bunnies stamp set in Versamark ink, and I am white heat embossing this as well. Just a fun little sentiment on my envelope. There is the envelope, and then there is the finished card as well. I really love how this turned out. I'm very happy I added the snowflakes. It was a bit of a pain to pull this card together, but it was totally worth it. So that's another card for the Waffle Flower December challenge birthday cards, and this week was winter birthday cards for her. And I hope you check out the challenge. I will leave all the information down in the description below, along with my supply list for this video, and I hope you check it out. If you like this card and if you like this video, please leave a thumbs up on this video and leave your thoughts in the comments below. I would love to read them. You can also subscribe to my channel if you want to see more of my videos, and if you don't want to wait till tomorrow when I post the next one, you can also check out some playlists that I have over on my channel, and I've organized them by coloring method, for technique, just a lot of fun videos to watch. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.